So next, let's look at example 2. I have f of x equals 4x squared minus 20x. 4x squared minus 20x equals 0, right? This is still in standard form. B can equal 0 or C can equal 0, so we're good. The issue is I'm going to have to factor this differently. In this first example, we found the factors of AC that add up to B. In this next example, what we're going to need to do is pull out the greatest common factor. That works if I only have two terms. So the greatest common factor of 4x squared and 20x is going to be 4x. So I've got 4x times x minus 5 equals 0. We're going to go ahead and set each of those factors equal to 0. So I get x equals 0 and x equals 5. Those are my two x-intercepts. And it's okay to have an x-intercept be 0. Remember, that would just be the origin. X is 0, y is 0. Let's do a couple more. I have 3x squared minus 108 equals 0. I should have just written this one way or the other, not both. So I have 3x squared minus 108 equals 0. And I said when we have two terms, we have to factor out the greatest common factor. Well, the greatest common factor here is going to be 3. So I have 3 times x squared minus 36 equals 0. Here's the thing. I can continue to factor x squared minus 36. This is an example. If I have x squared minus b squared, that's the product of a sum and a difference. Sum meaning add, difference meaning subtract. This is a rule that you may have needed to memorize or learn off the top of your head, or just so you know it off the top of your head. Keep in mind that if I had pulled this apart and put in like a middle term, I could have factored this by finding the factors of AC that add up to B, so don't feel like you have to memorize it. But this is going to factor to 3 times x plus 6, x minus 6 equals 0. So I have x plus 6 equals 0, x minus 6 equals 0, so I get x equals negative 6, and x equals 6 are my zeros, and that 3 just kind of disappears. Okay, example 2. This has 3 terms. I want to find the factors of AC that add up to B. AC in this case is negative 14. B in this case is 5. So let's list all the factors of negative 14. I've got 1 times negative 14, negative 1 times 14. And you don't have to make a table if you see it off the top of your head, but I want you to get in the habit just in case you do not. I have 2 times negative 7 and 7 times negative 2. Looks like we have a winner. So I have 2x squared, pull apart this middle term, plus 7x minus 2x minus 7 equals 0. We factor by grouping. The greatest common factor of 2x squared and 7x is x. The greatest common factor of negative 2x and negative 7 is going to be a negative 1. Remember, we do not like negative leading coefficients. No negative leading coefficients. That's how I write coefficients. Minus 1 times x, 2x plus 7. See what's inside these parentheses should match. I've got x minus 1 times 2x plus 7 equals 0. So x minus 1 equals 0. I get x equals 1. And 2x plus 7 equals 0. I get x equals negative 7 halves. So those are my two x-intercepts, my two solutions where my graph crosses the x-axis.